Hey everyone! So you're dreaming of building a custom home right here in our beautiful Tri-Cities area of East Tennessee. That's fantastic. But before you can even think about floor plans or paint colors, there's one document that comes first, and honestly, it's the most important one of all. We're talking about the residential site plan. Let's dive in.
And that is absolutely not an exaggeration. We're not just talking about money here, right? This is an emotional investment. This is where your family is going to make memories. When the stakes are that high, you have to get every single detail right, starting from the ground up.
I want you to think of the site plan as your project's North Star. It's the one single document that guides everyone, your builder, the city planners, the utility companies. It makes sure everybody is on the exact same page, working from the same map. It's the bedrock of the entire project.
So what exactly is this master document, and why is it so non-negotiable before a single shovel of dirt gets moved? Let's get into the nuts and bolts of it.
Okay, so this is not just some rough sketch of your house on a piece of land. No way. This is a highly detailed technical map. It shows the exact boundaries of your property, the footprint of the house itself, the slope of the land, and the precise path for everything. Your driveway, your water lines, your power. It's the master key to the whole build.
And this is where it gets really specific to our area. First off, it's the law. You literally cannot get a building permit without one. But more than that, a good site plan is just critical here in East Tennessee. You know our beautiful rolling hills and that heavy clay soil, right? Well, a well-designed plan is what prevents a total drainage nightmare and ensures your foundation is rock solid.
All right, let's talk about the big question that's probably on your mind. What's this thing gonna cost me? Well, the answer isn't just one number, because as you'll see, not all site plans are created equal.
You'll really only run into two types. On one side, you've got these cheap, basic online plans. You know, they're fine if you're building a little backyard shed, but for a new custom home, forget about it. You need a professional, stamped plan. This means a licensed surveyor physically comes out to your property, takes hyper-precise measurements, and then puts their legal stamp of approval on it. For a new house, this is the only way to go.
And yeah, that difference in process shows up in the price tag. You might see those online plans for a couple $100, but a real professional plan is going to average around $3,250. I know, it seems like a huge jump, but you're not just paying for a drawing. You're paying for legal accuracy, professional liability, and the peace of mind that your $500,000 home is actually being built on your property.
Now hang on, because the cost of the plan itself isn't the final number. You also have to budget for the city's review fees, and listen to this, they are non-refundable. Check out the difference just within the Tri-Cities. It can be as low as $55 in Johnson City, or jump all the way up to $450 in Kingsport or Greenville. And just to be clear, these fees are totally separate from the building permit fee you'll pay later.
Okay, next up, let's look at how the special character of our East Tennessee land can toss in some hidden variables that can really affect the complexity and the cost of your plan. The shape of your land, it's the biggest factor by a mile, making up almost half of the potential cost changes. A flat, simple lot in the subdivision is pretty straightforward. But a sloped, wooded lot on the side of a mountain out in Unicoi County? Whoa, that's a whole different ballgame. That's going to need a much more detailed grading and drainage plan, especially with our heavy clay soil.
And for most builds around here, this is a key add-on. It's called a topographic survey, or a topo for short. It basically maps out all the precise elevation changes on your property. Let me tell you, skipping this on a hilly lot is a recipe for disaster. You could wind up with a flooded basement or a driveway so steep an ambulance can't get up it. It usually adds between $500 and $1,500 to the cost, and it is one of the smartest investments you can possibly make. So, once your plan is all drawn up, it's not quite ready for your builder. First, it has to take a little journey through your local city or county planning department to get the official stamp of approval. And while you're thinking about this whole process, a question probably pops into your head. Hey, can I save some money and just draw this myself? It's a totally understandable thought, but when we're talking about a brand new house, the stakes are just way too high.
So can you draw it yourself? The answer is a very clear and simple no. Local building officials absolutely require that professional stamp to guarantee the measurements are perfect. I mean, being off by just a few inches could mean your house is illegally built on a utility easement, a catastrophic and unbelievably expensive mistake to fix.
So, since DIY is off the table, here's what the real roadmap looks like. You hire your pro, they submit the plan to the city. From there, it gets passed around to all the different departments. Zoning checks your setbacks, engineering checks the drainage plans, and so on. If they all give it a thumbs up, you get your approval. If not, they'll send back a list of changes you need to make.
And that whole review process, it takes time.
You should plan for about 2 to 4 weeks on average. This is exactly why it's so critical to get this process started early. The last thing you want is your entire construction crew just sitting around waiting because the paperwork is stuck in review.
Okay, wow, we've covered a lot of ground. So let's wrap this up and pull it all together with the key budget items and some pro tips to help you plan smarter and spend a whole lot wiser.
This little table gives you a really realistic budget framework. You've got your main survey, the likely cost of that topo data, and the city fees. But I really want you to look at that last line, potential revisions. It is so smart to just go ahead and budget a few $100 extra just in case the city comes back and asks for changes.
You've heard this old saying, and it has never been more true than right here. I know it can feel like you're spending a lot of money before you see any actual progress. But trust me, every dollar you invest in a precise, professional site plan can save you 10 times that amount by preventing those nightmare mistakes down the line. Finally, let me leave you with a few pro tips. First, hire a local surveyor, somebody who knows the subtle differences between Johnson City and Kingsport. Your builder is a great person to ask for recommendations. Also, think ahead. If you might want a pool or a detached garage someday, include it on the site plan now. It makes getting permits later so much easier. And finally, just be friendly and proactive with the city planning office. It goes a long way.
In the end, it all comes down to this one question. Because the site plan is so much more than just a piece of paper. It is the legal foundation of your property rights, it's the absolute guide for your contractors, and it's the one document that ensures the literal foundation of your house is secure, safe, and built exactly where it's supposed to be. Thanks for tuning in.